going to want to miss this brand new Q&A. If you want to get your question answered by me as a fan, what you're going to want to do is be on this podcast, Talks with Taeler Hendrix, on russosbrand.com. And you're also going to want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is here on one of the sides, youtube.com/@TaelerHendrix. Subscribe there, go on down to the last Q&A Wednesday video that you find on my feed, hit the thumbs up button, and then comment below with your question on that video for your chance to be featured on my YouTube channel for Q&A Wednesdays, as well as on my podcast. 2 for 1. It's free, and you get your question potentially answered by me. Here we go. Let's dive right on in. One person on my YouTube channel, they absolutely rock. They asked me, who is one of my favorite opponents in my career and who do I want to wrestle now that I am back in the ring? Well, that's actually a double whammy question, because one of my favorite opponents in my entire career, I actually just got the chance to wrestle with for my in-ring return, is Santana Garrett. She is the Wonder Woman of professional wrestling. She is the ringleader. She is just absolute top. She is phenomenal. I adore her personality. We get along so well. We have some similar move sets, and we just have a very similar approach to who we are as people and who we want to be going forward, and our approach to wrestling and personal life balance. And I really, really love that. I've always gravitated towards her energy. She is just a phenomenal worker in the ring and also a phenomenal person outside of the ring, and I just think she's absolutely beautiful and candid and free with her authenticity. And if you seriously have been following me for any length of time, you'd know I am huge on being free with your authenticity, and to me, Santana Garrett is one of the few people that actually does embody that in the pro wrestling industry. As somebody else that I would love to wrestle again, I really enjoyed my run with Mandy Leon in Ring of Honor for Women of Honor. I really wanted us to get a really good run for the belt, but unfortunately we didn't even have a belt at the time that I was there. So that was something we were really working towards, and I actually briefly talk about that in an article that I just wrote for Fightful.com, where I talk about Athena being the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. I am really proud of that article, as well as who Athena is as a Ring of Honor Women's Champion. So I would totally be down to wrestle with Mandy Leon again. I really felt like I was able to come out of my shell as a character and show people who I could be if I was in control of character development, promos, and all kinds of stuff, you know. I've said this before, and I guess I'll say it again for any of the new fans that are listening to this right now. You know, I did a series of promos leading up to our no DQ match. And what people don't realize is I was given no direction for those. They were just like, hey, do you mind just making, you know, a couple, you know, quick little promo blips that we can play to lead up to the match or whatever. And I was like, okay. And then I thought to myself, ooh, this is a moment. And if I do not capitalize on this moment, then I am probably one of the stupidest wrestlers on the planet. That's how I used to talk about myself, you know. That's why I always say, like, self-talk is so important. You have to, you know, I used to have such very negative self-talk. Anyway, and I called around. I remember I messaged Drew at Beyond. I messaged somebody from Top Rope Promotions in New Bedford, Mass, where I broke in on when I began my career. And I just went around to all kinds of different people until I finally found somebody who could help me film and bring these ideas that I have to life, right? Because I am not a tech savvy person. We've talked about that at great length and to great detail, and much to my shame, on this podcast. And I needed somebody that could do that and make it really cool. So it wasn't just like my promo where I did in my backyard at the time with Sumi Sakai. I needed something that was more creative and storytelling and in-depth. And so I found this person, and we did these amazing little promo videos that really hyped up. And honestly, I don't think it was in the plans for me to win that, but I think that those promos were so good that they decided to have me win. I'm only guessing with that, to be honest with you. That, you know, I don't know for sure, but I just suspect. But I think that it would have been so cool if we would have been able to carry on that storyline with all those things, that little seeds that I planted in those promos, those hype videos. If I slowly was able to, like, turn Mandy Leon into someone like myself, where, you know, in that no DQ, where, you know, she has that moment of this inner turmoil and dialogue where her character has this innate struggle inside of herself, like, do I treat her the way she's treated me, or do I continue to fight with honor? And you see her take this moment where she's like, and then she puts the chair down, and then I instantaneously grab it and then, you know, jab it into her midsection in her solar plex area, and then I twist her up into my tombstone onto the chairs. I was really happy about that because I did not want any sort of messed up chair to potentially hurt her. So I was very gentle with it, but I also wanted to try to make it look good. But you know, you're never in control of the metal of different things like the ladders and the chairs and everything else. So you have to be very mindful of those sorts of things. But yeah, that was so great. And I was really selling my shoulder legitimately because the night before or the day of it had popped out of the socket. So actually Vinnie Marcellia actually helped me tape it up before my match. And then Mandy was actually wearing my knee brace, I believe it was, because she got hurt the night before when we were at the dojo going over some things for the match, trying to come up with some different things. So her and I were like both hurt leading into that match, but we were just so pumped, and like we really wanted to just, you know, set the bar for that match. And I know this is long, but I just love that experience with that match. And so just I really enjoyed working with her. It was such a great opportunity to try and show people what, not just what I could do, but what she could do as well. And that was really important to me. And it was just such a crazy, cool, sad, amazing, awesome, weird, unusual, incredible experience. So I would love to try to recreate and updo that again with her. That would be so cool. But yeah, that was just so amazing. And just really getting to go through that. I forgot where I was going as far as like why I was talking about us both being injured and stuff, but I think it just shows the tenacity and the determination and the formidability and the gumption that we had leading into that. Like we truly believed in what we were doing. And I thought it would be so cool because since I was actually selling that shoulder for real, I was like, well, if it's already injured, I might as well sell it and try to put over this one iconic moment in that match. And so that's when you see me putting the hurt shoulder under the rope, even though it's a no DQ match. But it's my way of trying to get the referee to like get involved in that one moment of trying to like make her like stop and think about her actions, and then slowly turn her into my embrace your inner villain and Taeler Hendrix sort of vibe. I thought that would have been such a great end game, and then I completely turn her, and then, you know, she's like this not just like a beautiful badass, but also just this like villainous exotic goddess, and we just become this really cool, you know, tag team or whatever. That would have been so amazing. I really would love the chance to work with Alex Gracia. I think she is a drastically underrated, phenomenal talent that has so much to give to a company that is willing to invest in her. I think there is a lot of potential sitting right below the surface with Alex Gracia. And that's what's really hard, I think, about women in the business nowadays. Even though no one asked me this, but I think it's something good to point out. A lot of women, because there's so much opportunity and demand now, they're not paying as much dues, so they're getting success a lot faster and a lot sooner. And I think it makes their star shine brighter short term, but burn out short term as well. And I feel like that's something that slightly started to happen to Alex Gracia, because she was wrestling all over the world. Like I've talked with her on this podcast, such a stellar resume within the first like 2.5, 3 years in the business. Like I would have been blown away with those types of opportunities. I didn't start getting opportunities until I was like about 6 years in, which was around the time that I moved to Ohio Valley Wrestling from the East Coast. So you can see a very different perspective. You know, I carried bags, I got people's coffee, I did ring crew, I went to seminars where you show up dressed up and you leave your bag and your resume in the car. I was just talking about this with somebody the other day. And then you help out, you get changed and you help out with the ring crew, even though you're not on the show or not getting paid, but you're just there for the weekend for their seminar. And then, you know, you wait to see if you're wanted or needed. And if you are, then you scurry out to get your bag and you come back in and you try to impress or whatever. And if they don't need you or don't want you, then you just stay. And then you help take down and you're one of the last people to leave. Like I did that for years. And the thing about the people getting so much success so fast, so soon, is I don't think they always understand the value. I'm not saying this about Alex Gracia because I know for a fact that she did. But what happens is you get so much so fast, so soon, And then for some reason, a lot of times stuff that you don't understand why, it kind of just comes to a standstill and a halt. And it's so hard because you feel like a tree with roots stuck in the ground. Like you're just not going anywhere no matter how hard you struggle to break free, no matter how hard you try. And when you do get another opportunity, you feel underestimated. You feel not appreciated, and you feel like people are sleeping on you. And I feel like that's what's happened to Alex Gracia. And I feel like if a company will invest in her, they could have a gem of a talent that they could potentially build a division around. That's my opinion. There was more I could have said about more wrestlers, but I think we're going to move on. Do I have any new segments coming to my YouTube channel? Yes, I have a brand new segment called Red Pill Realizations coming to my YouTube channel. We've got more lessons from a nursing home. We've got a brand new podcast that I can't wait to share with you. And I am wanting you guys to tweet Vince Russo and tell him you want the return of our pop culture talks called The Brand Live with Vince and Taylor, where we debate each other as a millennial versus Gen X and as a man versus a woman, and we approach these, you know, pop culture topics from different perspectives. And I think it's such a cool vibe. Like, it's so cool. So tweet him, tell you want that back. Advice for wrestlers. Understand that a lot of the people that you're shaking hands with and a lot of people that are hugging you are going to be, and this isn't being bitter, this is just the reality of the business, okay? You can hear it from Rip Rogers, Al Snow, Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, even Jim Cornette, actually. Tons of people, whether you like them or not, they've all said this exact thing in their own way. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Those people, a lot of the same people that you're in carpools with, sharing hotels with, shaking hands with, wrestling with, and hugging and all this other stuff, those are the same people that while hugging you, they are going to be the ones that pull you in so tight, and you are going to be none the wiser when they stab you in the back, literally, figuratively, physically, mentally, and emotionally, and twist the knife so it nicks your kidneys. Those are the types of people that you are around day in and day out. So you have to make sure that you do not become one. And, you know, a lot of people will hate on this, but it's the truth, okay? Nobody is going to recommend a job for you more than they would themselves. That's the reality of it. Even if the job would be better suited or the gimmick would be better suited for you, they're most likely going to take it for themselves. And you have to understand that. You know, people want their own payday. People want their own buzz. They want their own attention. So they're going to be riding with you, but that doesn't mean that they're for you. So definitely learn to be your own biggest promoter, your own biggest cheerleader, your own biggest coach, and your own biggest critic. Because a lot of people critiquing you are people that have never even taken a bump or performed in front of 10,000 people. Understand that, you know, when you're riding high, there's going to be people that want to ride high with you, but they're not for you. Sometimes you have to learn how to be your own company and be your own counsel and look out for you, protect yourself, protect your gimmick, protect your brand. At the end of the day, anybody can learn how to wrestle. Not everybody can be a character, and the characters are the ones that draw the most money. So if you have that kind of charisma, that innate talent, protect it, because there are people that are going to want to make you commit the same mistakes that they did and so forth, so they can feel better about themselves. It's that whole status quo thing that we talk about, you know, a vested interest in your silence, that sort of thing. Protect yourself, protect your career. Don't follow the crowd, because sometimes those environments were never meant for you, and learn to be okay with that. Thoughts on Money in the Bank. I did not get to see Money in the Bank because I was moving my tiny house. So I do not have any thoughts on it, but that's going to bring me to the poll. And most people that answered the poll for the question of the day on my YouTube channel about Money in the Bank, most of you, more than 75% of you, actually said that you really enjoyed and really thought it was awesome. So I want to hear your thoughts on this podcast. Did you guys watch Money in the Bank? Did you like it? Did you think it was awesome? Or did you think, just another pay-per-view? I want to hear from you. All right, we had several more questions. I will end on this last one for the day just because I think it's so cute and funny. And then we're going to take our next break. So here we go. I briefly mentioned in a previous video on my YouTube channel that I am corny, and I make no apologies for it. I am a corny person. You know, I used to tell the corniest jokes to Kelly Klein whenever we were on the road together or in the ring or whatever. I even made Mistress Belmont bust out laughing in the middle of the match when she's beating me up. And she's supposed to be this dastardly evil heel. And I just remember her like beating on me. And then she just goes, what? And starts busting out laughing. That is me in the ring. I am talking 24/7 in the ring. And sometimes it's not even about what's going on in our match. Like, so here's a joke that I told my dad. And my dad is so awesome. He is definitely an answered prayer in my life. We love corny jokes, and we drive my mother, Mama Hendrix, crazy. So, okay, here we go. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. That is just the taste of my corniness. As I make myself have an asthma attack. That is the perfect